Hi, I'm Paul Perdue, and I am the infrastructure nerd.
And I'm Mary Jo Boyd, a legal technologist.
Today we're going to talk about snapshots in PracticeMaster. PracticeMaster has lots of lists of clients, lists of calendar items for those clients, journal records, lists of people, and every time that you've got a list on the screen, you have the option to show a snapshot at the bottom, at the right. It can also be turned off. But when it's on, it shows you more detail for the record that you're currently highlighting in that list. And as you move through the list, that snapshot changes to show you the information for the record you're currently on. We've discovered some really neat ways to edit those snapshots to make them show you more meaningful information and bring everything out to the surface so that as you're scrolling through that list, you can see everything that it is that you need to know about that particular record.
Can you show us how to do that?
I think I can. And as you move from one item to another, this snapshot is what we're talking about. This is what changes, and it tells you exactly what the highlighted record contains. Well, I say exactly, it is a snapshot. It doesn't show you every single field of information, but as we've started to customize those, one of the things we've found is that we can bring the important ones right out to the surface. So you'll notice that, for instance, we can block this whole address without having to block the name, then the company, then the address 1, address 2, address 3, city, state, zip. It's all one blockable, usable piece. Down here, you'll notice that we can actually click on a phone number and dial it, or at least start a phone note. Many IP-based phone systems will also allow us to use the Windows phone dialer to actually dial the phone. If we click on an email address, it's going to start an email in our email client, which for most of us is Outlook, as it did there. And this is what the snapshot's about. Now, this snapshot, not too big a deal, although, as I said, and why I say that it's not too big a deal is because this is almost how it looks coming out of the box. You've got the work description, the name of the company, the name of the client, I should say, the matter number, the phone numbers. All this is how it comes out of the box. But we can add additional fields. So if you're primarily a litigation firm, you might want the cause number and the date of incident and certain other litigation-related factors. And you might want them in a box down here or centered here or over on the right. We have complete control. So by being able to edit the snapshot, we're able to take this standard one that looks very, very cool already and has certain these features and this functionality built into it already. And by the way, you can click on that web page and go to the web browser. Everything's already there, but we're also able to then take certain other fields that aren't going to be here because they're fields that you've added to the data structure within PracticeMaster and put them right out here in the forefront too. Now, why can't you just double click and then go over to the right page and see this bit of detail? Well, the reason is, well, you can. The reason it's important to have it in the snapshot is an attorney or a paralegal or someone who's practicing law may want to see that information to decide that that's the right client. They may just want to see it right out here on in the front without having to double click or drill down into the details to find that information. Of course, snapshots are also available in the contact file, and again, here's the way we've modified it. In the contact file as it comes out of the box, you're just going to see whatever the default address is and whatever the certain phone numbers are that have been assigned to show for that contact right here on this screen. But here's an example. Data's a little funky looking because it's sample data, but here's an example where they're using actually, 14, 15 different phone numbers, and they're all going to show here. So not only are you going to see the ones that are up here, but you're also going to see the ones that are filled in that aren't showing on that main screen. Here we're showing all three addresses right out here, right out in the forefront, right out here for somebody to see. Now, another example where this is extremely important is in what we call the people file, which is something that we typically add on to our PracticeMaster installations, is just something that we give to our clients. And in the people file, we've structured it in such a way that you can look at an attorney or somebody who's tied to a case and also identify who they represent, or if it's a plaintiff or defendant, you can identify who represents them. Now you'll notice that in our people file, we don't show the information about the contact right up here. We show it out here in the snapshot. Now you can pull the appropriate information through from the contact file, but you have to know what to pull through. And you can also drill down to the contact file. So you can see all this information, but you'll notice I just clicked 2 times. I drilled down 2 levels to see all this information, and then I've got to jump back and forth between screens or select different addresses that I want to look at or different phone numbers that I want to look at. Whereas if we've got it all out on the snapshot, it's all immediately accessible from the same screen where we can switch between the different people that are in the firm. So here we can see all the addresses for Robert Foosball at Lewis and Worthington, his email address, all of his different phone numbers and addresses grouped by what they're relevant to, plus the extra phone numbers that don't show up over on the left, all of this right here on one snapshot. Now, those of you who don't have this, this is what you're used to seeing, which is kind of like, I call it the regurgitation of data. It's basically all the details from whatever file it is you're looking at listed in the order that those fields were added to the file. So it's really kind of a garbaged, jumbled mess of information. And as I pointed out, you can't really block the whole address. If you try to block even the whole address, even though it's not formatted right, you end up with the labels over here, and it's not something you can work with. You can still dial the phone from here or click on an email address, but only if those fields show. So the snapshot not only brings together information that you wouldn't normally even see if you drilled down very easily, but it brings it out to the forefront. Now in my example over here, if we take Robert Foosball and say that he represents James Brown, using that special field that we typically build into our people file, we've built the snapshot so that we can even see information about who this attorney represents. And then if I were to look at this from the James Brown side, I'd see information about who represents James Brown. So I'd see the flip side of it. So you can really show all the information that an attorney or paralegal or anybody who's trying to practice or get information from the system, you can see it all right out here at the front, as opposed to being something you have to drill down and then go from screen to screen or look at different addresses using this methodology or different phone numbers using that methodology. So that's Snapshots. It's a way we've discovered to bring as much information as we can right out to the surface.
And that's another way that we can help you worry less
And practice more.